All right, hello everybody. I hope you guys are ready today, my little artist. We are going to be painting this cute little spring chick. So, like usual, this is going to be a step-by-step presentation on how to paint your little spring chick here. There will be some drawing involved, and we'll actually take care of that first thing. So please don't be afraid. We're gonna do this together. We'll break it down nice and easy. If you have chalk, I would grab a piece of chalk. Otherwise, definitely use a pencil for this. So I'm talking about any kind of chalk right now. So I'm gonna try to pick one that you'll be able to see when I start sketching it on. So before we get started, the colors we're gonna need today, you're gonna need blue, green, pink or red, orange, yellow, white, and black. So we will be using quite a bit of white. I gave myself 2 pumps of white. Now remember, if you don't have some of these colors, you can make green, blue and yellow, make green. To make pink, if you don't have pink, you're just gonna take red with a little bit of white. To make orange, you're gonna use yellow and red together, and then you'll have all the colors that you need for this class. So like I said, I try to keep it simple for you guys so we can try to make sure that everybody has the colors that you need to do these paintings. And again, if you don't have paint, there's also, you can use colored pencils, crayons, markers. It doesn't have to be on canvas. You can follow along and color this on paper, construction paper, printer paper. If you have cardboard, anything, get creative, guys. And if you don't have a paint palette, you can always use a paper plate or maybe a piece of a piece of saran wrap. So you just ask mom and dad for a piece of plastic and you guys can go ahead and set up your paints on there. So usually I like to use my big brush. We always need our big brush. So you got your big brush today and you got your little detail brush. And if you don't have a super sloppy big brush like mine, then you want to make sure you have one of these messy brushes on hand. They come in handy when we do some of the, for the bird actually, because we want to give it some kind of a hairy effect, make it look like it has some fur on it and the feathers. So you're going to use your messy brush so that we can do that. All right, so first thing, before we do this, we're gonna go ahead and sketch on the chick before we start. So I kind of pre-sketched it on here so that I don't mess this up while I'm doing it sideways. So with the chalk, you're gonna go up to the top. You're gonna start with the head. So give yourself a nice round top or an upside down smiley face. Then you're gonna come down and we're gonna do our cheeks. Now don't make this arch too wide. It wants to be a nice little gradual bump out. So you're gonna bump it out. Then you're gonna go ahead and add your neck. And if you need to, you can bring this all the way up. And then we gotta add in the shape for our beak. So the beak, think of it like, I'm trying to think of the shape. Almost like a trapezoid we're gonna start it with, but you gotta curve that because the beak always curves a little bit. And then you're gonna bring that beak out and down. Close it off. Now this is just your guide. We can adjust everything as we're painting it all in, because this one kind of is a little sideways here. Better. So this is just your guide to start. Once we start painting and filling things in, things will change up. So right now, that's your first steps, is just to get your body sketched on there, and then we can start with all the extra fun stuff. So as we always start with our big brush. Now, like I said, this painting is going to require quite a bit of white paint. Our background is very pastel, very light colored. So you guys are gonna get a whole bunch of white. So go ahead and get all that white on your brush. If you wanna start, you can go ahead and just start doing, we're gonna do crisscrosses. So X's back and forth. I'll come a little closer so you guys can see that better. So crisscrossing, back and forth, little X's, little X's. Best thing about the chalk is it wipes off. That's why we like to use the chalk to sketch our stuff on. So the background's gonna be a combination of very, very light blue, which is why we wanna put some white down first. So now that I have a little bit of white spread out on the top here, I'm gonna go ahead and add some blue paint, just a little bit. I didn't add very much. And start filling that. So very light, and you can always go back and add more white on top to cover it up, to tone it down so it's not so blue. Don't be afraid to go over the lines to go into your chick just a little bit. You want to make sure you get very close to that edge. So we're gonna do that throughout the whole background, Xing it out till it fades out. So we're gonna need a lot of white. And you bring it to about wherever you want to stop it. And then we'll jump into another spot, add some more. So I'll go down here, add some blue and white. So I'm just adding my white coat first. I didn't wash my brush since we're still using the same two colors. I just wanted to get some more white first, give it a base, and then add the blue. Your blue. Add your blue and the white, fade it out. You can add some other little spots if you want to add it in there. Now for the next part, now you're going to go ahead and wash your brush off. So always swish it around the bottom of your water cup. I kind of like to mix it a little bit. Mix it around, paint the inside of the bottom of the cup, get all that paint out. Then you're gonna squeeze out a little bit of water against the cup and dry it on your napkin. Don't forget, you always have to dry your brush. In between washing, you don't want too much water. If there's too much water, it drips on your canvas and you leave a stinky mark down there that you kind of can't get rid of. All right, so more white. I'm gonna get more white back on this time. And same thing, you're gonna give yourself first a base of white. So more white. All that little section in. Keep going with the white. And like I said, don't be afraid to go a little bit against your line of where you sketched on the face of your duck or the body of your duck. So once you have the white there, now we're gonna add some green. Just a little bit of green, same thing. We're gonna brush that green into the white, let it fade out, Xing the motion. X's, little X's. Little X's through the whole thing. This gives you a nice little variety of dark spots and light spots mixed in. And it helps to kind of blend it better and get some fading going. So now I'm just adding more white to my brush, no more green. I'm gonna tone it back down. And you're gonna go into your blue. So wherever your blue started, you wanna brush into that so it pulls your two colors together. nice fade into each other. It's really good for blending. So always brush into the last color just a little bit to get some other in there. So again, more white. I'm gonna finish this little top corner. Get my white in there. And then go ahead and get some green. So you got your green going. Brush into your blue. Brush into your blue. Make sure you get nice and close to the edge of where you sketched on your duck's face. This one I went with a little bit of green and blue just because the lines where they meet, I want to get them to really blend together nicely. Alright, so now you got your background in there. You're going to wash your brush out really nice. Same thing, swish it around, get all that paint off. All that paint out. So you got a nice clean brush. You're going to go into your yellow paint now. So that dark yellow that I have on there. So if your yellow is really light, you're going to add just a tiny bit of orange to it. Just a little bit. Mine is a little more on the orangey side. It's like a deep yellow. So I'm going to go ahead, get that on my brush. And I'm going to just start shaping out my face, or the head rather. And then I'll go back down and shape out your neck. And you can go ahead and start filling all that in. And we'll add some white on the top of the head in a little bit. So go ahead and get that first coat in there, fill it up, cover it up. You're gonna fill in your whole duck's face. Your whole chick's face is now nice and filled in. And again, like I said, if you want to reshape anything, just paint over it and you can reshape it when we get there. So I'm just going to actually cover that because his face was kind of wide how I had it sketched on. Make sure you cover up all that canvas. You don't want to see any of that white part showing through. If you see little white dots, that means your canvas is not properly covered with paint. Use a little more paint to cover that up. So you got your face and body filled in. We're gonna go back up to the top. Add more yellow to your brush, but then I also want you to get some white. So you got a little bit of yellow and a little bit of white on there. You're gonna go back up to the top and we're gonna try to tone this yellow down a little bit. We don't want it so bright, or so dark up top rather. You wanna tone it down. So we're gonna add the white. Mix that into that yellow on the top of your head. Fill that in, cover it up. Gonna lighten the face up. So just the top, you could leave your cheeks. We're gonna leave our cheeks darker. Make it kind of look like we have a shadow going on the face. And I'm just gonna lighten this up a little more. Helps give us some tones, different tones in our painting. So same thing down in the neck. We want to lighten up some of that yellow that's down there. So I'm just going to add some white in there first. Little tiny bit of yellow still, just to tone it down. You don't have to go all the way up because we're going to bring some of that darker yellow back down a little bit just to create some shadow, like there's a shadow underneath the beak of your duck. So once you have all that filled in, I want you to go ahead and wash off your brush. So far you should have something along the lines of this. So nice clean brush, wash it off, wipe it on your napkin. You're gonna go into the orange paint next. So if you didn't have orange, you're mixing your orange. You're gonna make your orange with red and yellow. So orange paint, you're gonna go in now and start to add your beak. Now, if you need to use your smaller brush, this is the time you'll switch so you can just trace it out, trace your lines out, and then you fill it in with your big brush. Fill that in. Then, so we can get this brown color I made here, you're gonna take a little bit of that orange and just add a tiny, tiny little bit of black. I mean the slightest little bit of black. You don't want a lot because it'll take over the whole thing. So you can even kind of just test it and give yourself 2 little streaks first. No, that is not the nose. I know it looks like it right now. You're gonna give yourself 2 little streaks and then go back into your orange paint. I washed off the rest of that black from my brush just because you see how that works, right? That black goes a very long way. So you want to be very careful not to use too much. Just a tiny, tiny little bit will do the trick. So I'm going to spread that out in there, move it around a little bit, and then we got some shadow now on our duck's beak. Then you can go back with just orange and brush it back into there. So I'll go from the bottom and brush up. There you go. Give our bill, our duck bill, some shadows and some texture in there. So now your mouth is complete. I'll go back and reshape if you need to, because this one I have more sharper lines. You can always go back and adjust anything. That's the best part about this paint is you can just go back and fix it. There's no such thing as mistakes in art. There's no right or wrong way to do art. Everything can be fixed. And guess what? Half the time, unless you say something, somebody else won't even notice it. Only person that knows you made a mistake is you. So there is no right or wrong way in art. You can always go back and reshape. There we go. Now it's closer to that one. Sorry, sometimes drawing sideways can pose a few little lopsided issues. Alright, so now we're going to finish letting our face dry before we do the eyes. So we're going to go up to our head. So up to your head, we're going to do our flowers. So for that part, you can use a brush that's like this, or if you have a flat brush like this, that works. Anything that's pretty much smaller than the brush you were already using. So I'm gonna use this brush, in case you can't see. I'm gonna go up to the head. Now for the flower, I encourage you to use different colors and things that you want. Colors that you may like. Maybe you don't want to do purple. You want to make it pink, or you want to make it yellow, green, whatever you want. I encourage you to go ahead and change some stuff up. So for now, I'm going to go with the pink. I'll start with my pink. And I'm just going to start making a U shape. I got a U shape for the top of my flower, well, the base of my flower there. Now, if you want, you can start mixing some different colors. You can use pink and blue to make a purple. Purple's very nice. Best part is, because you're mixing these colors, you get to make this how you like it. So if you like it really more on the pink side or more on the blue side, this is where you get to kind of get creative. And I always usually like to add just a little bit of white to my purples. It gives it a nice base coat so it's not so transparent. So all right, we made a purple here. So I'm gonna go in, and you can either create shapes with parentheses to make your petals, or you can just keep bringing strokes up. However you wanna do this is up to you. Maybe you wanna fill that whole part in, or maybe you want your flower mostly purple. Maybe you want it all blue. This is where you get to be you. Try something different. Maybe you want to fill this whole thing in and add some little spikies up here. Doesn't have to look like that. However you want. I'm going to add more white. So now I'm going to go into the white. I'll add some white streaks in there. It'll give you two different tones now. So I got some light purples, you got some dark purples. You can go back and add just some pink on there. Layer it. Get funky. Add some blue in there. Whatever you want. Say you want another little flower on the side. Do it. You can do it. This is your painting. However you want it. It can be done the way you like it. Maybe we'll do some orange and pink. Make like a coral kind of color here. You can do a little flower over here. How about, let's see, we'll give it a time. I give myself a couple of petals. Maybe I'll do the same thing on the other side. Then I'll go into it with some pink. Okay. Now you can go in and add your leaf stem. So we can add our green little leaves in there. So I'm going to go back into the green paint. I'm going to add just a little bit of blue to the mix. I want to make it a little darker. So it's going to end up looking a little more on the teal side. There you go. Nice teal. That very lightly. Now if you have a tinier brush than this, I recommend using it if you don't have a steady hand. Nice and light, I'll add one there. Can add a little line there. those are gonna be the base for where we're gonna add all our little flower petals on. So it's basically a little vine we're doing. So now I'm gonna go back into the green paint. I'm still using my small brush. And same thing, how we did the flower petals, little parentheses. Little parentheses. If you want to add a little bit of white to your green, just to give it a base, that sometimes helps if your paints are very clear. Or you can do a little second coat of paint, whichever works better for you. Let's get your little petals. And do the same thing on your other side. So now you got your little flower petals in there. If you want to add some darker petals, go for it. So same thing, you can darken if your green is light like mine. Take a little bit of that green and mix it with some blue. And you get a darker color of green. A darker shade, I should say. It's really fun. Experiment with mixing different colors. You get some really fun colors. Add whites, add more darker colors, switch it around. Get creative. Let's say we'll add a little line in there. So I'm gonna go with my teal again, make more. I'm gonna add a circle for the center of my little flowers here. The nice teal I'm still going to use. I'll add a little flower petal coming out. Maybe have one come out over here. Have fun with this part. Make different flowers, add petals wherever. Maybe you want it to crown another flower on this side. However you guys want to do this. You want this nice little fun piece for you to hang up at home. In your house. Maybe you don't want to hang it and you just want to gain skills and practice. I commend you for that too. However you guys want this. This is your artwork, your way to express yourselves right now. Now if you want, you can add, like I did on here, I added some green stems coming out from behind my flower. So nice and light. You can use your tiny brush. And like a tree, so always give it little curves. Think of little Y shapes, little shapes of Ys. So you always want to bring it, curve it back in. So your little shapes of Ys. Then you can take the back of your brush, we'll dip this in some paint and pick a color, whichever color you want, and we'll add some dots on top, so it's little buds of flowers coming out. I'll add a few down here, a couple over here. So now your little flower crown is ready to go. So don't forget, if you did use this as the back, wash it off or wipe it off on your napkin so that this way when you go to use it again, you're not getting paint on yourself or somewhere else. Because if, like me, if you're using acrylic paint, that doesn't come off your clothes, so be very careful. So now, same brush. If you still have your chalk and you want to use your chalk, you can go ahead and chalk on the shape of your eyes. Otherwise, you can use your paintbrush to fill this in. So I'm going to go with the black paint. So the eyes, you can kind of stick them right on either side of the beak here. And give yourself a nice almond shape. So think of 2 parentheses that you're closing them together. Once you got your eyes shaped out, 2 little parentheses, you're gonna go ahead and start filling that in. Got your eyes filled in now. So now while you still have the black on your brush, you'll go back to the nose or the beak and gotta add in our nostrils. Now our duck could breathe. So we gotta give our eyes a minute to dry before we add in some of that white. So we'll go back now to your big brush. So if you have a nice sloppy big brush, that's going to be perfect for this part. So if your brush looks like this, that's what we're going to use. Otherwise, if you have a brush that's like this one, that'll be perfect for this next step. So with your brush, I like to wash it off, and then I like to kind of just spread out all the bristles. Open it up, get it nice and opened up there. The wider and spread out it is, the better for this next part, because we're gonna make this look like it has some fur or some feathers on it. So I'm gonna dip it. Now that I got my brush opened up and clean, dip it in the yellow. Now I always wanna tap it back out for this part. Tap it out because it helps to open up those bristles again. Now you're gonna go along the edge of the face. Come closer for this. So with the edge, you're gonna go along the edge of the face and you're just gonna slightly flick it outwards. So you're just gonna kind of scoop it outwards towards you. On this side anyway. So towards you, you're just gonna kind of scoop it out, following along that line. Scoop it out. Or sweep it out. So tap in, same thing. I'm gonna sweep it out. So now our little chick looks like it has some little baby fuzzy feathers. All your little feathers. So we're getting there. You got your flowers, you got your beak, you got your body. If you want to go back with some yellow, you can bring some more dark yellow down if you kind of think it works out for you, because I think this one actually is okay. So you're gonna grab, now we're gonna go back to the eyes if they should be a little dried. Yeah, mine are pretty dry already. So once your eyes are nice and dry, you're gonna go back to your eye with that small brush that we were using, the nice light small one for detail. Back to the white paints now. So you're gonna go into your white paint and we gotta add the white for the eye here. So you're just gonna sweep it on this left side and give yourself a little dot. And if you want, you can add a little bit right in that little bottom corner there. And you're gonna do the same thing on the other eye, but now don't put this opposite, you're gonna do it on the same side, because naturally when you have a glare in your eyes, if the light is on one side of the room or in one space, it's only gonna hit you on that part. So naturally you're gonna have your highlights on your eyes both gonna be on this left hand side. So same thing, a dot and a swoop. The only place we're moving that is supposed to be in the corner of the eye, you're gonna put it right in that little corner there. But that's it. So once you have that, if you want, you can add, while you still have the white, I'll take a little bit of orange still on my brush. And just along the bottom, I'll add a little bit of highlight there by lightening it up. Adding a little highlight on my beak. So I got a little bit of highlight, a little bit of white and orange I added back on my brush and just went right along the edge there to give a little highlight to it. So once you have that, your last step is for you to sign your beautiful masterpiece. So as a little artist, you always want to make sure you sign your work. So I use my little tiny brush. And I like to usually put mine right in the corner somewhere. Simple as that. So you guys have now completed your little spring chick. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in. I do have a class I'm going to be posting up tonight live at 7:30 p.m. for my adults. We'll be painting this cute little Easter egg basket with its baby's breath on top. Yes, that is the name of the prince. Baby's breath. So if you missed out Wednesday, I had posted up a class with Easter Bunny, teaching you guys how to do a little Easter Bunny and some eggs. So tune in and check that out, and I'll see you guys next week. Thanks, bye.